Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Shavua Tov, it should be a Shavua Tov. We should be part of making it a Shavua Tov. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've learned, and it almost seems like a completely different world that we're living in, which is true. It is a completely different world we're living in. If someone could just close that door, or ask them to just be a little bit quiet in the... Thank you. Thanks. So just the sponsorships for the month of Nisan. It's still Nisan. It's Linda and Serge Merkin, commemorating the Yortzites of Linda's father, Linda's mother, and Serge's grandmother. The Kram and Schaffner family's memory of their grandparents on their Yortzites. And Leah and Uriel Stern memory of their grandparents who are no longer with us. And my dear friend Michael from Pomona, it's a yid that learns with us online from far away, hopefully not for too far, in honor of the shining light from Shirat David and the Gula Shlema for Klal Yisrael. This is this week. The weekly sponsorship for this week is by my in-laws, Barbara and Ben Benjamin Selsky, in memory of Bina's grandmother, Rabbi Pauline, whose Yortzeit is the Chav Zayin Nisan. She's one of the sweetest women in the world, who I had the privilege of knowing. Pesia Elka Bas Nachman Moshe, Zichron Livracha. Okay. So I know we have a sefer, I know we have learning, and I know everyone's hearts are in a very, very fragile place. And I just want to, preface by saying a few things specifically about this shir, like literally about this shir. It's like extra important to just preface by saying the following few things. Is that the nature of this type of learning for what's going on right now is going to be touching some real sensitive chords. And the shaila was, of course, so do you continue learning this right now? But then I realized the truth is anything right now touches all sensitive chords. It's like, well, we're going to start learning right now Hilchos Mezuzah. Like, would that make it, easier? And is that really what we should be doing? Like, stop learning about the living Geula? Because no one feels right now that we're living Geula. No one feels right now living Geula. Especially we've been discussing that Galus is like a graveyard and all this imagery of bodies and bechule. This is heavy stuff. It's very, very heavy stuff, and therefore I just sharing with you from my heart is that I decided that we have to continue. We have to not only do we have to continue learning this, we have to learn it on a level like we never learned it before. Because it's either we're going one way or we're going the other way. We're either going into the light or the darkness is going to swallow us up. And there's so much darkness, there's such a dark cloud, and it's there, and nachon, there's so much light that's been coming from this week as well. More light than I've ever experienced living here in Efrat. But on the other hand, that pull into that other side is insane. Personally speaking, I felt it this morning more than I did the whole time. I think I also know why. According to the calculation of days, even though I know they're still in Shiva now, but if you calculate the days of Shiva and everything, and if it wasn't Pesach, so it'd be the period of this morning would more or less be ending today. But the craziness of our calendar created the situation that this period is continuing now until Wednesday morning. So it's in the, it's not only in the air, it's in everything. Thank God that the shul has had these beautiful simchas. We had a bris on Shvi Shel Pesach.
That was the most beautiful bris I ever I actually went to Sarah and I said, if your granddaughter has a boy, can you please have a bris here?
And the bris, Ella and Yosef Rubin. And this Shabbos, the Kapinski Bar Mitzvah, and hearing Azariah give his drush after davening. These are healing moments. Like literally, I had a friend come, we had a friend and a family that was visiting from outside of Efrat, Shabbos, and they came out and they said, wow, this is like what do you call those kind of like retreats where you go to get healed?
Healing retreat.
A healing, like one of these like spa resorts, or like a resort.
A transformation.
Yeah. Like these simchas really they're transformational and they're healing v'choseh, but we also have a really, really big job. Like more than ever, a really, really big job. I've had to be very careful with my words, mamish, of what I'm really feeling. Like I've barely been able to say what I really feel about anything. Because everyone's in such a sensitive state. But there's no way that our living in Eretz Yisrael should be the same on any level. There's no way that our tefillahs should be the same. There's no way that our understanding of the process that we're in can be the same. Lo yachol liyot. And it's not enough to just do some very, some holy deeds, v'chulei. It's what that is exactly is what we're trying to figure out in this learning. Like, so what does that mean? Like, what does that mean that my life, whatever that means, my life itself changes, the way that I act, the way that I think, what I'm looking forward towards, that changes as well. Now it's clear, it's interesting. The word that's been in the air in Eretz Yisrael for the last 2 months has been mahapecha or haficha, which really means either a revolution or a haficha means mahapecha is a revolution, haficha is a word for it. What's that? It's a word. It's not revolution. It's like a
reversal.
No.
Civil junta.
I don't mean it like that at all. But when the tzaddikim say when words are said and they're being said a lot, it means that it also has a shaykhus to the side of in spiritual terminology that they're just trying to find their way into it. And it's clear that there must be a consciousness of a revolutionary consciousness of Am Yisrael's role in the world right now. Am Yisrael's role in Eretz Yisrael, Galut, diaspora Jewry's understanding of what's actually taking place and what's moving forward. So I want to share the following. I didn't share it publicly yet, just because we basically are putting together the pieces right now. There are a few very special Rabbanim that are flying in for the Shiva. And one of them is a Rav that Leo quoted twice in his Espedim. That's Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg, who's a Rav of a very big Kehillah in Boca Raton, BRS, as well as Rabbi Shai Shechter, who will be coming in for one day. And we're going to be doing together an evening of Chizuk. Not tonight, not tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Tonight there's a very important women's gathering. Tomorrow night's Yom HaShoah, as if it couldn't be more timely. And then Tuesday night, it seems that we're putting together the final pieces I'll be joining them doing an evening of just simple chizuk for the Anglo community in English here in our shul. These are wonderful, amazing, tremendous Rabbanim that are working day and night for Am Yisrael. Yes, it's in Chutz La'aretz. It's not here. They're not here to come and feel like, look at us, heroes. Not at all. And that's actually been their sensitivity and what we've been talking about in describing this evening that we're trying to put together. But rather, we're just coming here to be together, to give each other chizuk. That's all that's needed right now. Chizuk, chizuk, emunah, chizuk, chizuk, emunah, chizuk, chizuk. Once the Shiva is over, and then we, so to speak, go back to whatever our lives, will be by then, I feel then it will be the time that some big mahalachim, some big changes in the way that the thinking is taking place has to happen. And it happens to be that around Yom Ha'atzmaut, Mizrahi has this massive congress they've been putting together, and a lot of leaders of Jewish communities in Chutz La'aretz will be coming in to Eretz Yisrael for about a week. And we've already, together with some very special chaver that live here already, are grabbing everyone's attention and not begging, and opening up the heart and inviting other people that are in places of influence to come here for a day, sit here, and realize things have to change. They have to change. They have to change because none of us will ever want to go to any Shiva house like this ever again in our life. So there's a lot of things that are in the works. Having said all that, Emunah means that I'm one step closer today to Geula than I was yesterday. And that's what we started learning on the Shabbos. We're trying to now implement this in the Shabbos afternoon series on Emunah. And it's what we're trying to do over here. Thank God. I noticed where we stopped last time, and before I opened the Sefer to look where we were at, I said, Yibon Shalom, please let it not be still like describing Galus and all the graveyards and stuff. And I opened up Mama, unless I'm just, delusional or a Malach came and did this, if you open up the page Mem Vav, there's like this beacon of light. I think that's where, unless I missed it, it seems like this is where we're at. And the name of this chapter is Lehitromem El Merchavei HaGeula, which is like, oh, thank you. Lehitromem, to rise up to the widening, to the broader consciousness and awareness of redemption. Raising ourselves up to the place of redemption. And again, even though it'll be a little bit difficult, Dafka today, to hear some of the words that he's sharing with us, because it's painting a picture that we're usually used to, not in a week like this. So therefore, I already ask everyone's mechila, bemet, if it's a little, because there's no right or way, like, in all the davenings, half people are crying, half are dancing. There's nothing, en malasa, we're just trying. We're just trying to do our utmost best right now, and B'ezrat Hashem, asking Hashem for an extra amount of siyata d'shmaya, that the words that we're learning should just go into the right place and be received in the right manner. B'shem kol Yisrael. He begins here, he says, Baruch hu Baruch Shmo, Ro'im anu ba'ayin ki pakad Hashem amo, v'hashivenu le'eretz Yisrael. We see Hashem remembered his people, and he brought us back to Eretz Yisrael. Ha'holechet v'nivnet u'mesakseget, which is in the process of growing, being built, and bring misakseg. Siksug is being prosperous. What's that? Thriving, slicha. It's much better. אי אפשר להתעלם מהשינוי האדיר שמתחולל בכל מרחבי החיים החומריים של עם ישראל. You cannot turn a blind eye. You can't be oblivious to the notion of physically what has happened to Am Yisrael, the different state of Am Yisrael today. Whereas it used to be that if something good happened to a Jew and they were living a little bit good, that was enough to say Hallel for like a month. And the reality is that it's a different reality that we're living in. And you can't, as horrible as things are, you can't ignore that reality as well. That's a mitziyut that we're all living. התהליך הזה מבשר שהחלה תנועת הגאולה. I'm very thankful that he chose this word, because he said that this process is giving a besorah. It's announcing to the world, it's sharing the news that the movement, a tnu'ah, the actual movement of the geula has begun. Not that the geula is, it's here, no, but the movement towards it is a geula, because when Jews are back in Eretz Yisrael, living for the most part, again, I say this with such yirah v'fachad, living for the most part in a thriving state, he says, shehi kmo Techiyat Hameitim. That is like the resurrection of dead. Ba haguf shav lehibanot. What's the resurrection of the dead? It's that the body is returned and begins to be rebuilt again. V'haneshama holechet v'chozeret elav, and there's a reuniting of the soul and the body coming together. Now, in our situation of Am Yisrael, let's think about this for a second, because this is basically the next few prakim. What has been rebuilt more or less in the last 75 years, or even say 100 years, but last 75 years? The body or the soul? The body. Can we agree on that?
Physically.
It's hard to. I would love to say the soul, but it seems, the body, the physical country. But don't ignore that. That's what he's saying over here in Rav Kook. We're going to see, he says, you cannot ignore the physical restructuring, the physical rebuilding, as that being, oh no, that's just physical, so that can't be part of, the whole tnu'ah, the movement of Geulah. It's not true. Why? Because like we learned, Techiyat Hameitim doesn't just mean the soul comes back to life. That's not called Techiyat Hameitim. What's Techiyat Hameitim? Hashem should bless us that we should see this with every kadosh and kadosha that ever gave their body. The soul is chai v'kayim lanetzach, the body. Techiyat Hameitim is that the body is rebuilt again. So the body of Am Yisrael, with a lot of blows and a lot of punches, has slowly been rebuilt all these years, and that side of Techiyat Hameitim has been taking place, not fully, at all, on its way. V'neshama olechet v'chozeret elav, he ends and he says, and the soul's coming. That's our job now. That's our job. That's what we're here to do now. That's what Nachon. Like, I have an upcoming trip. I haven't been to the States in age. I'm petrified because I have to speak in certain places. I'm so scared. I'm so scared of my mouth. I'm so petrified. I'm like mamash. I'm not answering people for different inquiries. I'm like so nervous because what am I going to say? But you know what? Someone came to Leo at the Shiva and said, "Do you have a message for diaspora Jewry?" And he just said it straight out. Aliyah. Like what other message? What other message do you want to give them? Be strong. Am Echad. That's done. When we're talking about the difference in messages right now, like the shift of conscience, of course, Am Echad. Of course, that's home. Techiyat Hameitim. So, of course, that the body is not fully back now. Vadai, I'm not in any... but he says, in comparison to what was before 75 years ago, 80, 90 years ago, what was here? What body was here? So the body is being rebuilt. There's Techiyat Hameitim like that. And our job here is to continue to mevaseh the besorah of come back home, while we that are here have to really merge the soul and the body together. Yes, Jenny?
Well, it feels like, unfortunately, through the Shiva and through the funerals, our souls are coming together. That's what is happening.
100%. And you know what message? You know what statement? Like, whenever I've spoken to any of my close friends, the phrase that we keep on saying is Zar lo yavin zot, which means a stranger, but really means a foreigner. You can't understand it unless you're here. You can't give it over. You could send all the videos in the world that you want. You could have all the live streams in the world, but what you're describing is felt live here.
People are coming from 4 to 5 hours away from Shiva, and they're saying, "What can I do?
It's here.
I feel part of this, and this is so."
It's here.
Unification of the soul.
1,000,000%, which is taking place in the place where it's supposed to take place. The unification of the soul is supposed to take place at home.
We'll call it the country. My street, maybe not so much.
Why?
No.
No. It is.
In the country, yes.
Bina and I went on Friday. We must have stood there, I don't know how long. I didn't even attempt to try to make my way forward. And I, who know the family, because we saw Am Yisrael, we saw bereaved family after bereaved family coming from every corner of the country, coming and just saying, mishpacha, unfortunately, mishpacha, not just bereaved family, just all of Am Yisrael. But again, Zar lo yavin zot. A foreigner, someone that's not here, they can't understand it. You can't understand it unless you're here. This soul unification.
That's why I don't understand if they're not already moved to come here. And I can't begin to understand. If I just lost 3 people in my family, and I'm talking to people who have not felt the need to come here already, but to say, "Hi, my people just died for this country. You should come." I don't understand how they would come. Like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come sacrifice my children as well." Like that's.
Meaning why they would?
Yeah, like if they weren't moved to do it until now, I don't think that maybe in my naive my childish understanding, my limited understanding, what would move someone to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll put my kids in danger too."
I remember when the 3 boys were killed and sitting on my back porch with Eitan in America and just crying, like, we're in the wrong place. Like, it was felt like we're supposed to video them. I know it's also like, maybe, we should be fighting for our people, as opposed to like watching from the outside.
for a different time.
Our
because
unification
the
of
events
the soul
again.
here.
They did, but people.
I'll try to just explain what I feel from here.
Michelle's
Yeah.
article in the one I had with Rafi a few months ago was the drush I would have given to my American congregation that I wouldn't have gotten fired. But like literally the description.
And do you know how much he got smeared?
I'm sure he got
Smeared. You're gonna see another article that's coming out, right? You saw it?
To me. And it was
These are words that now have to be. This is like what I was saying before about other gedolim in the community that are now like we're reaching. Eli is working on something massive, of a game changing. But to get back to what you're saying right now, and this is very important, what you're saying. It can't. The notion of trying to convince someone to be willing to sacrifice their children, chas v'shalom, will never work.
It's not what I'm getting, you understand, people stay in Mitzrayim. You know what I mean? So like, this,
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good smart analogy. Maybe I just don't know anything anymore. After the last 3 years.
intermarrying. It's the same.
So let me just address what you're saying. The way what we're speaking about over here is explaining that the revolution that we're speaking, that at least I'm speaking about, that I'm referring to, is a spiritual revolution. It's not the revolution of understand that you're going to be dead in galut. So you might, and you might as well, if chas v'shalom, the gzeira on you is to give your life for Am Yisrael, it should be here in Eretz Yisrael. That's not your right. I don't think anyone, that's not going to drag anyone. And even if it does drag someone, it's the extent of what that really does and how that's really mashpia is minimal. But it's not at least what I'm understanding or what I'm feeling and speaking about. And as much as this may sound corny, I believe it's a spiritual revolution that has to take place in order to understand what it means to be part of Techiyat Hameitim. Techiyat Hameitim is the body and the soul reuniting. Where does the body get rebuilt? Where does the soul reunite with its body? At home. Where is home? It's not Pico Robertson in Los Angeles.
No, I
It's
get
not.
what this guy's saying, and we're in the room, grabbing for it.
We're grabbing
Holding
for
on
it.
tight. But I get why you're afraid, because,
Yeah.
I think that you're being afraid jives with what I said.
100%. But so what am I doing?
Understand Leo.
So I'm davening every day. I'm davening all day long, mamash, every day. Please Hashem, I don't want to, fire shouldn't come out, fire of love should come out of you, or whatever it is, Hashem. Hashem sfasai tiftach ufi yagid tiyotecha. To really say, one time I'll get back to it in a second, to really say, Hashem, let it be your words. Let it be your words, finally. Let it just be your words that bring them home, not my words. One time I asked Chaim Kramer, a lot of people come to him for itzot, and I said, what do you do? What do you do when so many people are knocking on your door? How do you deal with it? He said, before any person enters, he says very quickly, Ribono Shalom. Okay, let's just call it for what it is. They're not here to hear what I have to say. They really are here to hear what you have to say. So just, for the next few minutes, just use me. Just use me. And that's it. That's the whole thing. You, Hashem. Use me. Apparently a certain message is still not gotten across. So just use me. Now for that avoda, to be able to be used by Hashem and ask for it, that we all have to take upon ourselves. What avoda of hachna, like working on the heart, that has to do. Such bittul, as if we're not mevutal enough after the last week. But I'm saying, even more and more work of let it really not be anything that has to do with my own agenda. Even if my agenda is very, very holy, but the message that has to reach the hearts and souls has to be yours. So I have a month. I have more or less a little bit less than a month, and it's just I've never ever felt such a trepidation. Such a trepidation. And it's a deep Indian, and these Torahs are really helping me right now. Mamash, they're really, really helping me align all the different emotions and feelings and thoughts and love and fear to get into a place of vanit tefillah, if I speak, let me just be in a state of saying Shemona Esrei. Let me just daven. But let it be your words, because my words are, it's gonna burn.
I don't know, I'm so resonating what you said, because this morning it was like, how can I teach anymore? How can I do anymore? only be a channel for Hashem, and it can't be, and this is just to teach me humility and bitul. Ma ani yodat, I'm not that klum. So that's okay. That's everybody. So just open and meditate and feel Hashem, and then whatever He wants me to say, we'll say. That was a comfort.
Yeah.
And I so resonate
Yeah.
with you saying this, because it's
Baruch
like,
Hashem.
what can we say?
Yeah.
What can we teach? How can we?
Nachon. How can we anything?
I know.
I know. Listen, there are a lot more things that we can expand on this. I want us to take the learning to give us chizuk, so I want to continue inside. Ra'inu, it's the second paragraph. Ra'inu she'agalut meshula lemavet. We already saw. Galus is the graveyard. It's death. Uleumat zot, hageula meshula l'tchiyat hameitim. And on the contrary, on the other hand, redemption is likened to resurrection of dead. Beshone me'amavet, as opposed to death, bo reshit kol haneshama mistaleket. The beginning of death is that the soul leaves the body. Uleacharei haguf mitparer, and afterwards the body crumbles, right? B'tchila, but tchiyah, with resurrection, hatalich hu afuch, it's the opposite order. What? Kodem kol haguf nivna, first the body gets rebuilt, ve'az haneshama chozeret le'ha'ir bo. And only afterwards the soul comes back to be inside of it. You hear what he said? When it comes to death, what's the process of death? Soul leaves, body leaves. When it comes back, when it comes to Techiyat Hameitim, the process is the opposite. How did he say it? First the body is rebuilt, then the soul is placed, comes back inside, and is reunited. Kach gam mitrachesh talich hageulah. This is redemption. She'echeret peulato berevadim hachomriim bebinyan haguf shel ha'umah. The building of the body of the nation, the restoration of the body of the nation, began to be rebuilt in this process that we're in right now. I was shared this at the Sudas Mashiach that we had here. We had a really, really powerful Sudas Mashiach. And one of the things that we were saying there is that when a Jew davened in the ghetto or in Auschwitz, and he said, Ani mami memuna shlema, what was he really saying? Was he davening for like Mashiach, or was there really a tefillah there? Like, we'll never know. But we could assume to say that what they were really davening was, get me out of this hell that I'm in right now, meaning keep me alive, which for them would be like Mashiach. When we're davening Ani Mami Muna B'Shlema V'Yasa Mashiach, what are we davening for? We're actually davening from like that bigger picture, you know, that place that they didn't even have the luxury of davening for back in the day because it was too far-fetched. And all they, rightfully so, wanted to do was get out of that hell and the darkness that they're in at this second. Leo gets up at his wife's levaya and starts singing Ani Ma'imuna Shlema. So we get so emotional when we read these stories from the Holocaust, like Yafa Elias, Tales of the Holocaust, and books like that. And we're like, my God, how did they do that, right? We're so far removed from that type of, look at us. Look at what we're around right now. But the process of it is exactly happening in front of our eyes. We have a country, we have an army, we have an economy, we have say whatever you want to say about everything I'm saying, it exists. We have a government. We have all these things that the key are the body. It's the body, it exists. The body exists. Now, in the process of Geula is the neshama. And I believe so strong that there are so many, hundreds of thousands of precious brothers and sisters in Galut, that on the soul level, they're actually really refined, big, big neshamas. Some of my best friends. That for whatever the reason is, that they're not here yet. They say that they're not here yet. But if we change the focus of what we're rebuilding to be less body and more soul, it may resonate, to answer you, Lisa, to certain people, to many, I believe the Rov, it may resonate much, much easier for people to say, yes, I can't ignore my neshama. I can't ignore my neshama anymore. And if the soul building is what's focused on now we haven't had the luxury for that. And someone would say, what are you kidding me? Now you have the luxury to focus on soul building in Israel? Have you looked at our neighbors? What do you mean luxury of soul building? Have you read the news about Iran and Lebanon, Syria, and this a people that has a name that was given to us by us, unfortunately, Palestinian people, Yishmael in Eretz Yisrael? You have the luxury of soul building now, right? They'll say, "Tia reale." What are you talking about? You got to be realistic. You got to build. You got to keep on building the body. And what he's telling us is that it has to be both. It has to continue to be both, but maybe the focus now could be more on the neshama. So maybe that's the besora. I don't know. Again, I have no idea. I don't really know. It seems to me like that's more the besora right now of what the message is. The Techiyat Hameitim, the soul aspect of Techiyat Hameitim, now meeting the body, this amazing body that was built in this country, that was built by blood and so much blood. The body of the people that has been built here is such a powerful body. Such an iron body. It's an amazing, amazing thing. Such a resilient body. But it's waiting for its neshama. The body is waiting for the soul. How much longer can the body just be the one that's leading the show? How much longer can the body be the one that's leading the process of Techiyat Hameitim when everyone knows Techiyat Hameitim is a reunification of soul and body? So beseder, body part, it's not that we got it down fully, but that has definitely, it had to be the way that we, and Rav Kook speaks about this, it had to be the way. But now it's neshama. Jenny, your hand was up before?
I just don't know, like, is there any instructions on how the body has to be developed, what parts need to be there and not there? Like, we're not doing our part.
The Torah tells us something very interesting. The Torah tells us before we come into Eretz Yisrael, there are 3 mitzvahs that we have to do. What are the 3 mitzvahs we have to do? Does anyone remember? Parshat Shoftim?
Get rid of them.
You have to wipe out Amalek.
Right, so that's what
Wait one second. You have to wipe out Amalek with this. Yeah, but there's two other very important things. Yeah, appoint for yourself a king, and build the Beis Hamikdash. L'shichnot tidreshu vata shama. What's that? Well, we're much, much, much closer than we've ever been before. You have to look at, we're much closer than we've ever been before. No?
Yes, it's more awareness.
More awareness. Some people have already built the Kalim, they think.
Where are we sitting? Where are we sitting? You know, like, we're much closer than we've ever been. Are we near? I don't really think so. But are we much, much closer than we've been before? We're living proof to that. Yeah. It's that Amalek piece that is unfortunately going to be taking a very strong birur after the Shiva is over. That's that piece now that is very clear to anyone that's in the world of Ruach. It's interesting, not the world of Binyan. The world of Binyan, of building, of the Chomri, we've gotten so accustomed to a certain Rosh Bakir attitude regarding Amalek. It's today, Rav Soloveitchik's psak is so clearly the psak of all psaks. Who's Amalek? Anyone that wants you dead. So, but it's interesting. That physical, like, understanding, it has to come with the spiritual understanding of it, meaning the spirit of the Torah, the spirit of the law, the ruach of the binyan of the Am, is going to be that which really enables the body to be a full functioning, healthy body that's not missing any limbs. It's the spirit that's going to be mashling the health of the body. Not just the body being the body, physical, iron strong. Who's stronger than us? Who's stronger than us physically? And yet we see that today, that's not doing the job. So this is like this, you know, we've taken it obviously due to the sensitivity of the time that we're in, where it's we understand that this, like said that they told us already, kim'ah, kim'ah. They gave us all these teachings of it's going to be slowly, slowly, v'chule, v'chule. But no one here is willing to say, I'm willing to wait for one more korban in order for the lesson to be learned. We're sitting here saying, I'm not, I die. Gamarnu, right? That's what we're saying. Gamarnu. Gamarnu. And we have to humble ourselves as if we're not humbled enough. We have to humble ourselves and say, Ribono Shel Olam, die. Beseder, guf. Hashem Yisbarach, neshama. Soul. Nishmas Am Yisrael. The neshama of Am Yisrael. Rav Weinberger has he has so many beautiful series. There's one that once I heard about what happened. It's the only thing that I could listen to from him right now. And that's a series on Nishmat Am Yisrael. Understanding what it means to be part of the soul of Am Yisrael. You see, when the neshama is nourished with the notion, with the da'at of what it really is and what it's from and what it's about, you know what we'll hear? The body will say, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I've been waiting for so long. Thank you. Doesn't look like it. The body, the army, it looks, Sarah Bitachon, they don't look like that because they have to be on guard every second. The neshama of Am Yisrael, is screaming out, let me in. Just let me in. And I'll tell you a little bit of a funny story, just to make it a little bit, There was a I was telling someone on Shabbos or Yom Tov or wherever in the world it was. I don't remember anything anymore time-wise. There was a very holy Yid that some of you knew from Moshav Mevon Modi'in named Michael Golom, Alav Shalom. His wife Leah, Techiyat, she should have refuah shleima and feel good and just continue to bring Torah to the world and just have many more years of nacham. Michal you could pluck him out from so many different eras of history and be like, here, pluck him and put him here. I see him in so many different eras in the past. For sure, Haight Ashbury is one of them. But Mamish, Beit Rishon, I see him in Beit Rishon. I see him in Yosef and the brother is one of them. I just see him in all these different. Those of you that knew him, was a very colorful character, and he was the Gabbai in the Moshav Mevon Modi'in. And one of the things that he would do was Mamish known for. He was the master blesser. If you got an Aliyah, it wasn't like Amen. It wasn't that. You could probably, if you had a book in shul, you could finish 3 chapters sometimes between aliyahs. Literally, if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. One year, I was there on Simchas Torah, the year before I met Bina, and he said, I want to give you Chassan Torah, al t'nai that you get married this year. That's what he said. That's now in Moshav language. That's normal. That was a normal statement. Michal Golan's statement. So I went to the side. I went to go do his Bodurus. I said, "Let me get back to you on this one." Right? I'm thinking. There's still akofas. There was times I'm thinking, "What in the world do I say, Hashem?" If I say yes, right, then what does that say about what I have to do tomorrow? If I say no, it doesn't mean that I'm pushing away my soulmate. So I said, I'm not sure what it means, but when a Yid gives you a chance to say, Baruch Hu Hashem HaMevorach, you say it. So I said it, and then the bracha came in. Now sometimes these brachas were heavy, Musar Shmuzas. It was like if you heard what he was saying, it sounded all beautiful and lovey-lovey. Between the lines, he would rip you into shreds when you needed it the most. So he said to me, I'll never forget this. He was saying a lot of things out loud, and with Moshe, it was normal to have a thing like this. But then he got closer to my ear, and he said, can't you hear your kids screaming, Abba? Let me out. Abba. Oh my God. Oh my God. So that was Sukkot. I met Bina in Shvat, like 4 months later. Yeah, so it was so, wow. This was, why am I thinking about this story? Because the goof of Am Yisrael right now, the goof thinks I need more goof in order to get the message clear. I need more power, military power, to get the message clear. That's Lo misham tavo Yeshua. Now you can misunderstand what I'm saying easily. You're saying, oh, we should just be spiritual, give out flowers to Beit Lechem. No, I'm saying. Anyone that knows me even a little bit understands. Just look at my shelf. Okay, you understand? That's not what I'm saying. The neshama is screaming from all the fresh graves, let me in. Kol dmei achicha tzoakim alai min ha'adama. Let me in. Let me into the Am. Let me into the Am. Let me inside. What has Leo's shlichus been from the moment that he had to become Superman? He's what is he doing? What is he doing? Everything we're speaking about. Lihitromem el merchavei geula. What is he doing? He's screaming it. And if he could scream it, then we can scream it. Screaming, and we have to understand better what that means, which is why we have to keep on learning. We have to keep on learning this. We have to keep on understanding the tahalich that we're in, so that we can understand how to scream as well. So again, death is neshama leaves the body, and then the body matchil yitporer. Techiyat Hameitim is what? The body is rebuilt, and then the neshama comes back in. And that's more or less the development of Geula. So I just want to read a few more lines. Third line from the bottom. במובן זה, תהליך הגאולה דומה ללידה של ילד. Redemption, the process of redemption, is like the birth of a child. שבתחילה מתפתח בגופו. As much as we'd like to think, oh my God, my kid's such a Rebbe, and it's all spiritual consciousness and awareness. No, they poop and they do everything like a body does, and that's what it is. And they cut themselves and they throw things in the. This is a body, right? He says in the beginning of mitpatech begufo, the body. First, the child gets developed physically. Ach zeu hashlav harishon, but this is the first shlav. Ve'acharav tavona komot chayim nosafot, and then after that, more levels of life are added on to the child. Bezot navin, he will understand. It's like I have such a taiva to go out to whoever's landing in the chopper right now and tell him, come to the shir,
They're already at the house.
He's probably...
Baby's leaving.
Should daven for him. Should daven for him for Eitza, Tvuna, Ruach.
Exactly what he learned in his father's house.
Bezot navin, שהשגשוג החומרי של האומה will understand that the materialistic thriving of the people, hu chalon lehatzitz el hashlavim habaim acharav, is just a window to look in to the shlavim that are going to follow. You understand this? This is very, very important. Looking at how strong we've become, chomri, like as building-wise, is just a window to what will come afterwards. Not to look at, wow, look at what you've become. It's a window into looking to what will become, what will be following it. כי אם ברובד החוברי, שהוא רובד החיצוני, התרחש שינוי כל כך גדול, because if such a big change took place physically to this nation, קל וחומר. שבמדרגות העליונות, but on the higher levels, תהיה בעזרת השם פריחה אדירה. There's going to be such a huge blossoming on the spiritual levels, much more than even the physical levels. And he says, Be'emet, understand what we've happened until now. Don't down the physical rebuilding of the body. That's now he's saying to there's some approaches within a more Haredi approach to down the physical structure, the physical building. He says, don't down it. It's paving the path for the next shlav of Techiyat Hameitim, which is the Ruach. It's paving the path for the Ruach to come inside. Be'emet, הפituach הגופני של האומה, hu edut al achsharata likrat giluyim elyonim yoter. The physical development of the nation is testimony for its preparing itself for much higher levels of revelation. Keteva ha'adam prati, like the nature of an individual. Shaleidato upituach gufo. Their birth and the development of a body, hem shlav rishon, lifnei leidat komot chayim elyonim yoter. It's the beginning of what will follow afterwards. Now, there's an amazing piece here in Rav Kook. It's very difficult in Hebrew, that sums up everything that we learned today. I'm going to be finding a translation for this. And Bezrat Hashem, sending it out when I send out the shir, Bezrat Hashem. If I don't, please remind me. And Bezrat Hashem, Chasdei Hashem, it'll be a week of Neshama. It's a big week of Neshama, Yom HaShoah, more things. Stay close to each other. We're on this together. Bezrat Hashem, Hashem, please don't let us down. Please don't let ourselves down. And there'll be the real nechama, the real nechama for all those looking for nechama, which is when the body and the soul become one again, and there's full Techiyat Hameitim. B'mei Rabbi Amen. Okay, thank you very much for coming, everybody.